Breaker Broke 23. So today in this video I'm going to do a review of the 1Mii or the 1Mii Bluetooth audio receiver. This is a amplified Bluetooth audio receiver, very flexible. Real quick side note, this was sent to me by 1Mii, and they originally contacted me to do a review on this, and I get quite a few of those from different vendors on Amazon and whatnot, and I usually tell them no. In fact, pretty much all of them I tell no, because it's usually just entry-level stuff, and I really don't want to pimp up or advertise something that is not of good quality. But I was intrigued by this little unit, and this is something that we're seeing on the market quite more frequently, and so I'm like, you know, I don't really get too many 1Mii returns on my Amazon shopper page, and so I'm figuring, you know, I'll give these guys a shot. I like a couple things about this. So, oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you what I do like and then what I don't like. Because I'm straight up. I mean, I told these guys, I says, you know, you may or may not like my review, but they sent it to me anyway. So here's what I like. I love the flexibility of these new units. This is very intriguing to me. I like the fact that if this is a Bluetooth receiver, it's Bluetooth 5.0, long range, because we've got the dual antennas on the back. I like the fact that this also has a 50 watt per channel, 2-channel amplifier built into it, which just makes this thing extremely flexible. So on the front panel, we have on-off. We have Bluetooth pairing button. You just push and hold. We have separate bass treble and a separate volume control. These controls have a little indent in the center, so you can keep them flat and you'll know where they are. And it's kind of weird because the volume control has that center indent as well, right there, okay? This is a master volume. This master volume controls the speaker output. So we've got 50 here, we've got 50 watts here. We have analog RCA out, and yes, that master volume control on the front adjusts this RCA output, so we can bring this up to full output level like the audio engine, and unlike the Harman Kardon. The Harman Kardon, by the way, is a fixed audio output, about half of what any of these are. Okay, we have a 3.5 millimeter stereo input jack for an outboard source like a laptop or a smartphone. We have the coaxial output. We have a digital toslink output, so you can run this Bluetooth 5.0 device into an outboard DAC and get a better sound than the inboard DAC here. We have 2 antennas, and I want to say, you know, back in the day they called this FM diversity, so this will be, I guess, 2.4 gigahertz multi-diversity reception. We have the power jack here. For power coming in, it runs off of a 24 volt AC adapter, and I'll show you that in a second because it's a pretty healthy adapter. We have some cooling over here on the side. Pretty neat. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to show you how flexible this thing is. But, and you got to see this because this is like really cool. It's where these guys just don't get it. This is really neat to have. So what I first did in testing is I tested just the Bluetooth capability alone. So I took the RCA outputs from this and plugged it into one of my vintage receivers. This is my good old standby SA404, and it sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound as good as the audio engine or the Blue Dento. It sounds about the same, maybe not quite as good as the Harman Kardon. So it does have a good output. Now, my external DAC has not come in the mail yet because I wanted to try the external DAC on this and see if that cleaned it up, and I imagine it would. So that being said, this is a very good Bluetooth receiver. It has excellent range. It keeps up with the high-end units. You know, that's like a $189 unit. This keeps up with the B1. In fact, it may even have a little bit better signal capture than the B1. So I rate this pretty high on as far as distance goes for Bluetooth reception. As stated, this volume control works on the RCA output as well as the speaker output. Here's what I do not like about this. I do not like the fact that you do not get volume on this until about right there, about the 9:30, almost 10 o'clock zone right in there. So from all the way down to up here, it's kind of dead. I'm not used to that. I'm used to maybe the first little click right there and you start hearing sound, and then at about the 9 o'clock position on a normal stereo receiver, you know, this is getting pretty loud depending on what your speakers are. You get up here to the 10 o'clock position, it'll fill a room. So I kind of don't like that. I wish they would fix that. This is also seems to be a logic-based rotary encoder type system, meaning it's not like an old school pot like this. And what this does is when you say like you go from the halfway point, and this has the center dent, to all the way, and you just do it quick, there is a delay. There's a lag time between when you manually turn the volume up and when this actually catches up to your volume. So that kind of bugs me, okay? The flexibility on the back, like I just say, is just absolutely awesome. I love being able to drive a pair of speakers, still having RCA preamp output. I put this on my Klipsch Fortes and my big old Cerwin Vega subwoofer, and I love the fact that you can do that. That is so cool. This makes this unit like extremely flexible. And I mean, they could sell these things at $100 all day long, and I honestly think it's worth it because it's just so flexible. You could use this on your little computer station setup for stereo speakers. You could use it on a nice patio setup. This would be great to use for patio speaker setup. I really like that. I like that a lot. So there is another thing I do not like about this. There's only two quirks. Number one is that volume issue. I want this to be more responsive. I don't want to have to put it right here to start generating music, or noise as I usually call it. Second thing that I have a problem with is this has some internal noise with your program source. So let me pause this, and I'm going to hook it up to power, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's the deal. I've got my old school tablet synced up to this, and by the way, this syncs very easy to pretty much every device I own. I really like the way it syncs. I've got the volume control on this up all the way. I'm going to turn up bass, treble, and I have no outputs at all hooked up to it. And how I found out this little quirk was I had this hooked up to my Techniques here, and, you know, I have it on auxiliary. Well, I turn this on, I sync everything up, I'm not getting sound. I look down on here. No, I didn't have it on auxiliary, I had phono. But I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I can hear something. Now listen. Now, I hope the camera's picking that up. I can hear my program source inside of here. Basically, I can hear music inside of here. So what's happening is when you use any of these outputs without the speakers, you can actually hear the amplifier in here. And I'm not really sure if it's like in the capacitor stage or the final output stage, but I can hear music inside of here. It wasn't really a big deal until I heard it with nothing hooked up to it, pretty much. I mean, because I was kind of on the wrong input. And so that's a little quirk with it. So we've got a little bit of internal noise. It's not distortion or anything. It's just basically the signal. We've got this little volume issue being here, not really putting out anything till about this position right here. Now, there's another thing here with the volume control as well. I just left it generally at the 12 o'clock indent because this thing is a 100-watt amplifier, believe it or not. This little Class D technology is pretty gnarly nowadays. And it gets kind of loud up here if I turn the tablet up or my cell phone up all the way and leave this about 12 o'clock here. On an old school receiver, that would probably equal about this volume right here, okay? If I turn the volume control up all the way on here, it's literally going to be like, you know, up here. Now, anybody that's got an old school receiver will know what I'm talking about. Just kind of imagine this in your head. This is pretty loud. So this thing will go pretty loud. This thing will go loud with outboard speakers, and then you can put a powered sub on the back. So I'll show you how to do that. So I like that flexibility. Now, that being said, I turn this at any given level, let's say halfway up or 2 o'clock position. When you go and you adjust your volume on your tablet or your phone, obviously you don't have to mess with this volume control, because once you set this for max volume, Now you can just use your device's volume control, right, for your main volume. So you can walk around the house and just jam along and be loving life. This worked good on my tablet, my laptop, and one of my cell phones, but on my everyday phone, my Samsung Galaxy, here's what happens, and I'm just going to use this for a reference. The volume, let's say it's up pretty loud here. Let's just leave this here. Stays at this volume from basically all the way up to about a third, right there. And then when I go one or two more clicks down, the 1Mii just falls out. It's gone. You just don't have any more volume. So it can be a little goofy. And I really don't know if it's the 1Mii's fault or the device's fault. I think maybe it's kind of a mixture of both. Now, for instance, on this tablet, I get perfect volume control from all the way up to all the way down. And it is just silky smooth. So that's kind of neat. So you may have a little, depending on what device you have, you may have a little issue with that. But that can be rectified by using the master volume control and whatnot. So that's cool. I don't know if I've stated this before too. This master volume control will also operate the RCA outputs as well and the coaxial output. So this is not a fixed output. So this is why I'm going to show you what I do with my subwoofer, which I think is really super cool. Another thing I like about having that volume control up on the front is when you turn that up all the way, you get equal gain to this nice higher end unit. So these two will match, like, say, a CD input volume level, like on your old school receiver. Unlike the Harman Kardon, which has about half of the output signal that either of these two units use. So in layman's terms, if I'm using the Harman Kardon to get decent sound in my room, I literally have to go up this high on the volume control. On the Audio Engine B1, I only have to go up to like here. On my CD player, I go to like here, you know, just one or two clicks down. On the 1Mii, I'm still right in this area right here. So I'm impressed with this being so flexible and adjustable, so it's not fixed, and I really like that. So I like that. And at the price point, you know, you're in like the $59 to $99 range, kind of depending on how Amazon's playing that game. I really like this. So anyway, I'm going to give this a thumb up, and I appreciate the folks at 1Mii sending this to me. I'm going to use this out in my shop on some bookshelf speakers and an old crappy 10-inch Sony powered subwoofer that I have. So I am going to take this into my apartment, into the front room, and I'm going to show you how I have this set up to my Klipsch Fortes and my big Slammin' Serwin Vega 15-inch subwoofer. And yeah, so stay tuned. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I'm using my old school first generation Samsung tablet. I'm using a song from my playlist here, and then I'm using this side volume control here for my adjustable volume, and it's very smooth. I also have a secondary or a main volume control on the 1Mii itself, so we can make this thing rock. Okay, so does it sound like a Marantz? No. Does it sound like an old school Pioneer? No. But being a Class D 50 watt per channel mini micro amplifier run off of an AC wall adapter, it's pretty impressive. The Klipsches are very sensitive, they're very efficient, so this can actually get very loud and it will drive you out of the room. You know, it may be almost 1% distortion, but I'm going to tell you, it's plenty loud. This thing would be great for a workshop. I like the fact, or an entry-level home audio system. What I think is really impressive with this is the fact that I can run speaker level, high speaker or high power output, speaker outputs. I also have adjustable RCA outputs. So I can plug this thing into the back of my subwoofer, and play it with the speakers. So flexibility is awesome. Okay, another thing you can do with this unit is you can just plug this into your audio video receiver or your old vintage Marantz home stereo with the RCA outputs and not use the speaker outputs. So you can use it as just a straight up Bluetooth receiver. You can use optical output, and you can plug this into your DAC if you'd like. So maybe you have an outboard DAC and you want a little bit better Bluetooth, you can do that. I like the fact that the treble and bass controls are separate here. They're pretty good. This has got some good low end to it, and the high end can get a little bright if you want it to. I like the master volume control, so that all works really well. This thing is just ultra flexible. I really dig that. Also, when you turn up the gain or the master volume control on this, when you're running it on, say, like a vintage stereo receiver, it gives you enough preamplifier output signal here to do a good job on driving your audio video receiver. Is this audiophile quality as far as the built-in Class D amplifier and stuff? Because I know a lot of people hate Class D audio, and so do I. But as the years progress here, these Class D amplifiers are starting to sound better. Does this sound as good as an old Marantz or a Pioneer? Oh, hell no. But this sounds equally, if not maybe just a touch better than some of the AV receivers that I've had on this known setup right here. Okay, so great. Guys, we're gonna wrap this video up. So it's got a really nice AC wall adapter that comes with it. It's 24 volts at 2.2 amps, which is pretty gnarly for a unit like that. It's got good filtering with the little what are they, the ferrite beads and everything. Total flexibility with this thing. This is going to be great for in the shop or on the patio or something like that. And in a pinch, you could run your good high-end speakers off of it. So at the under $99 price point, I think this is a pretty good deal. Really fun to play with as well. So now I'm going to go on Amazon and order a couple high-end units and give them a try. And maybe I'll do a shootout from kind of like, say, an entry-level one to maybe one of the more high-end ones. And yeah, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. This is a total recommend for me. So thanks for watching, you guys. And questions or comments down below. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'm sorry this video was so long, but yeah, it is what it is. Over and out.